And we're in. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to day 8. In case you don't know who I am, my name is Doug and I've committed to myself in 2024 to post every single day for 100 days onto YouTube. And I'm an online coach specializing in helping drained guys who work the 9 to 5, who've been struggling with their work-life balance to take back control of their health, get their edge back and reboot the old mindset. Anyway, I've got nothing to sell you. That is not the point of these videos. The point of these videos, as much as it is for me to get better at doing this, creating content, it's hopefully also to add some value to your life, hopefully. I aim to make these videos 5 to 10 minutes. They're every single day. If you enjoy them, please like, subscribe, comment, tell like 1 million of your friends. And do not forget that the first founding 100 subscribers, everyone's getting Lambos and helicopters, guys. So without further ado, let's get into today's topic because it is a juicy one. It is a very controversial one. And having read the title, clicked on this video, now watching it, you might be wondering what the heck I mean. Happiness is a paradox. Funnily enough, the title of this video, the reason we are connecting right now, whether you're listening on audio, is one of the reasons that I'm doing it. Because I started to think about this idea, this concept, that happiness is a paradox a couple of weeks ago. And I wrote out a piece of short form content to record for some other social media platforms that we will not name in case the YouTube algorithm harms me. I'm already in the bad books with Meta, so let's not piss off another one. And I realized that this was not a topic that you could genuinely cover well over 60 to 120 seconds. Now, I just watched that reel back and I genuinely can't remember if it's already gone out or not. You're watching this on the 9th, well, I'm recording this on the 9th of January. I don't know when you're watching this. You might be watching this in like 2112. That would be cool. Not really the point. So my brain went off into a whole other dimension then. But it doesn't really matter. The point I wanted to make was one of the reasons that we are doing these videos is because some of the topics that I discuss, and I love going down quite deep introspective rabbit holes, as you may have already realized if you've watched any of my other videos, is that it's very difficult to get your point across in a short form piece of content that is going to be engaging for people, that people are going to find interesting and compelling and ultimately take the action that you want them to take by you putting that piece of content out on social media. With YouTube and with podcasting, I'm able to take a little bit longer to explain that point. And this, I should say as well, I should caveat this one, is very much just my opinion on happiness. But I had a realization the other day. I was actually walking to the gym. Happiness is one of those things that we are all very much told to believe is the sort of the path to be on, the end goal, the objective, the meaning of life, whatever you want to insert, bit, adjective, whatever you want to call it. And I don't think it's the right thing. Now, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and one of the podcasts I listen to, they ask every single one of their guests towards the end of the episode whether they're happy or not. And they obviously are, interviewing famous people, highly successful business people, athletes, whatever they may be. And almost every single one of them says yes. And I've always just had a hard time believing them. Because being happy, I just don't necessarily think is the right answer. I'm not optimizing for happiness anymore. I was walking to the gym and I had this realization that trying to optimize for happiness, which is effectively always wanting for more, isn't the right answer. Because it directly contradicts humans in their existence and us being at the top of the food chain. The reason we're at the top of the food chain is that we are driven by always wanting more. And the world we live in now, with social media, with the internet, with 24/7 news, whatever you want to call it, is that there is always something more to have. There is always shiny object syndrome. And this is a new thing. And I think as a result, it makes chasing happiness harder, which is probably one of the reasons that if you look at the statistics, more people are more unhappy than ever before. or at least they believe they are, because they're not achieving what they have been told to believe is happiness. I think as well, you have to remember that happiness is a fleeting moment. It's almost like an adrenaline shot. That's what we've been sold happiness is, right? You ask someone to define happiness or a time when they were happy. More often than not, they will give you an event. Oh, when I got married. Wedding day, right? Super happy occasion. Of course, I'm not going to argue with that. A holiday. When they bought something. When someone told them they loved them. Whatever it may be. But all of those examples are moments. Right? And as a result of that, if you're constantly trying to optimize for happiness, you're basically just chasing that next moment. And as a result of that, because you're constantly chasing, I don't think you're ever actually going to be in a solid state of happiness. Do you understand what I mean? So that kind of leaves you in a bit of a pickle because you're like, oh, okay, maybe this guy's batshit crazy. Me. Maybe he's onto something. If you think I'm batshit crazy, you've already gone. So anyone watching this still thinks, oh, this guy could be onto something. Let's see what he's got to say. Then you've got to think, okay, right, well, if I'm not optimizing for happiness, what's the point? And this is where it's kind of revelationary for me. When I had that realization walking to the gym the other day that I wasn't ever going to be happy, in a state of happiness, weirdly enough, right then and there, if you'd have asked me how do I feel, I would have said happy. Because right then and there, I didn't want anything. I didn't feel like I needed anything. I was just there. I was present. I think being present is a very, very difficult thing nowadays. Again, because it comes back to human nature. We're always chasing that next thing. We're programmed for that. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's the reason that we have all the things that we do and we're top of the food chain until the aliens come anyway. And like I say, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I just think that we've been given the wrong construct to chase. And I think it keeps us on this hamster wheel. And as soon as I had that revelation, I let go of a lot of stuff. And I just breathed. I was like, oh, this feels good, you know? So then I started thinking, okay, well, all right, happiness, right, we're kicking that one out the door. So what is the purpose? What am I trying to optimize for? And I've realized now, I believe, in my humble opinion, that the highest value that you can optimize your life around is peace. And that means something different to absolutely everybody. But despite the chaos of a day, you could have a bad day where you're not happy. But if you get to that end of that day and you're able to go for a nice walk or have a nice meal with your partner or just kick back and relax for even if it's 20 minutes and watch, I don't know, something on Netflix or YouTube, like my channel. Like, subscribe, comment. It makes you feel a bit more at peace, particularly if you've done the hard work. So if you've had one of those bad days and you've really grafted and things just haven't gone your way and it's rained and someone swore at you at the train station and you missed the tube and you spilt soup down your top, I don't know. Things have just gone wrong. But then you're able to have that relaxation at the end of the day. You're like, oh, it's a bad day, but I got through it. You're not necessarily happy there, but you're at peace. And I think peace is a state that we can sustain for longer than we can sustain happiness. And so as a result of that, I think it's a higher value. I think it's something more aspirational to achieve, to sort of reach for. I think it's also, I think it's potentially more of a goal than it is a process. I think you can get to a place where you are at peace. You're never going to get to a place where you're happy because you're always going to want something else. You're always going to wonder, oh, what if I done that? What if I hadn't done this? What if I had done that? That fork in the road, every decision we make, those sliding doors. Your brain is wired to always wonder those. But if you're at peace and you can just sit back and think about when you're really at peace, think about it. I guarantee you it's when you're with your loved ones, when you're just about to fall asleep, because you have to be at peace to fall asleep, when you're laughing, when you've had a hard day's work but you got through it, when you're on a nice walk, when you see dogs and you see other people smiling. None of these things require money. They don't require you to need anything. You just see them. So I think we are much better off, personally, aspiring to optimize our lives around peace. And when you think about that, you start to think, okay, what brings me peace in my life? And if you start to think about that, then you might start to change the decisions that you make throughout your days, every day. You might start to think, this job I have, I earn a lot of money. I live in a nice house. I have the beautiful girlfriend. I drive the cool car. But are you really happy? Maybe you are. Maybe you are. It's not for me to say. But are you at peace? And I think a lot of these high performers, I don't think they are happy. I really don't. I don't think it's possible to be a high performer and to be happy. And it was so weird that I was already going to do this video today, and I'd already recorded the short form piece of content. And then today, this morning in the gym, I listened to the latest Diary of a CEO episode, Stephen Bartlett interviewing Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry tormented my childhood. As a Chelsea fan, I woke up and basically every single day Thierry Henry would make my life worse because he was such a good player. And as a kid, I hated him. And I wanted him to die. Now I've got so much respect for him as a man, growing up and seeing what he achieved and the levels he reached. But he was the most honest I've ever seen one of these sort of celebrities on one of these podcast interviews. And he basically said he's never been happy. And I was like, wow, the universe really wants me to make this video today. If you haven't watched or listened to that episode of Diary of a CEO, I highly recommend you do. It's very interesting. But I believe he's telling the truth. I don't think and some people will listen to him and think, he's just sob storying it. He's just trying to get clicks and views. What's his angle? He doesn't have a fucking angle. It's Thierry Henry, mate. He doesn't have an angle. I think he's just being actually honest. I think he's a very introspective man. He's a very high performing man. And I think he has realized it's not about happiness. And he said, because Bartlett pushed him on it a few times. And he said, I don't care. You just get the job done. You get up, you do it, you go. It's not about happiness. If you're constantly chasing happiness, you're keeping yourself on a hamster wheel. And guess what? The harder you try and be happy, the less happy you'll be. Maybe that resonated with you, maybe it didn't. Maybe in 6 months' time, I will completely change my opinion. But the beauty of these daily videos is that we get to look back and reflect on our own work. So I hope you enjoyed it. Guys, I'm serious. If you did, please do tap the little like button, boop, tap the little subscribe button, boop, and I'll see you tomorrow.